So let's talk about the Tower of Joy. You referenced
my actual shirt.
Your actual shirt you're
I
wearing.
brought it back. I brought it back.
Let's talk about that because as you referenced earlier, this episode, as we'd hoped, they continued the Ned Stark flashback. They didn't, because they left us hanging, but now they went back to it. We got to see the rest of it mostly.
Yeah.
I was, and I should say, because every time I'm saying something I felt was wrong with this finale, I really dug this finale.
More than Battle of the Bastards?
It's hard to say. I mean, I love them both, even though I'm the one who's bringing up pointed criticisms.
Yeah.
I love them both for different ways. I think I actually like this one a little more, actually.
Yeah.
Just there was so much going on. There was
they balanced it
dense in a cool way. But I did think it was kind of cheap, if for lack of a better word, to have that whisper in there, only because this was the scene where it was okay, we're gonna finally reveal all, and we are going to answer a speculation that people have been having for many years beyond the TV show, from the books. So it felt kind of funny to me that they still held back because, it's unequivocal now that Jon is not Ned's son, which, has been since the first book came out.
Yeah, since the first book, it's there. The Promise Me Ned flashback plays out exactly like this.
And even going back to the bigger thing of people being hey, it just didn't sound right that noble Ned Stark had cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
So, okay, we know that for sure. We know who Jon's mom is. We 90% now have the confirmation on his dad.
Yeah,
that's why it's strange to me to not go all the way with it.
Honestly, my bigger complaint with it is why Bran went back to that memory. To me, it was just oh, we're gonna set him down next to a weirwood tree, but we have to get to this in the finale.
Right.
I wish there was more of an impetus to make Bran say, I need to find this out. And also Cold Hands being there just to leave.
Right.
I was sort of really? Okay.
I thought they should have had a joke about when he's thanks Uncle Benjamin, he should be all those adventures we had that we didn't see on screen.
All that stuff, that'll be the web series in between the Adventures of Cold Hand. So my bigger issue was why Bran does this now. I do agree. Okay, you didn't go all the way. She wasn't hey, Ned, my child's father is Rhaegar Targaryen. He is a bastard. That she does say, if Robert finds out, he'll kill him. You need to protect him. So that's adding more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
But it was Rhaegar's men. Rhaegar said, hey, most powerful knights I know, protect this tower.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm confused. Why bother with the whisper?
Right.
Because unless they are going to go so out of left field and make it some completely crazy random thing at this point, for her to whisper some name that would make it was Khal Drogo,
Right.
it's just strange to me to hold back on that little piece of information.
I wonder if it's supposed to still be a secret from the audience. Maybe it's something where they do drop in the Rhaegar of it all. Next season, I'm guessing it's just gonna have a different dramatic impact. It'll be with Dany or Sansa finding out from Littlefinger. But I really do feel they put all the evidence there, and it takes a very small amount of effort to connect the dots. So maybe that full-on Rhaegar confirmation is just gonna, I don't know, have better impact later.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't see it having any better impact later.
That's
because we all kind of know what it is. But I am glad that at least we have, like I said, 90% of it all there. It's pretty much confirmed. I don't see how there's any way it's not Rhaegar. And it does add fuel to the fire of, okay, what's going to happen with this sort of Jon Sansa issues. We were talking earlier about, okay, because now that he is not Ned Stark's son, it actually makes it even more of a could she challenge him for the throne? I mean, he still is Stark blood.
He's still a bastard, though.
But he's still a bastard.
And he's half Targaryen.
And he's half Targaryen, and which could be a unifying thing, or it could be problematic depending on how much Dany is just going to come in and attack everyone, or how much the White Walkers unite them. That's the big question.
I will say I go back to just feeling Jon isn't going to make it out of this series alive. He was brought back for a purpose. I don't think that purpose is indefinite.
Yeah,
I definitely think that, his watch will end by the end of this series, and it will be bittersweet but satisfying. I do want to say before we leave this Bran stuff, though, I think they buried the lead with what some of the more important elements of this sequence were, which was Cold Hand saying there are spells on the wall that protect it from the dead passing under it. The Night King grabbed Bran's arm and marked him. And we said at the time, we talked about this a little bit too, does that mean when Bran passes south of the wall that he's going to break those spells unwittingly? And I think that's going to be the case. I think that Bran is going to be, when he travels through the, Castle Black, wherever he is, when he travels under the wall, I think either the wall is just going to flat out come down or something like that. He's going to break the spell, or it's just going to revoke all that magic, and that's going to be what allows the White Walkers to come through.
I think there's a good chance of something like that happening. I think we've talked before about just you almost have to have the visual of the wall either completely collapsing or just overrun by White Walkers, you know, just consumed by it. I mean, that's almost an inevitable...
It's like the World War Z thing where they're like piling on top of each other.
Walking on top of each other. But I mean, and I say inevitable again, sometimes things are inevitable like wildfire in a cool way. You know, it's just seeing how it plays out.
And just going back to that, because I don't think we full out said it, even though we guessed the wildfire thing, so satisfying.
No, it
executed so well. Like very suspenseful, very well done. I think that's what I'm always hoping for. If we figure out, hey, we think this will happen, I want to see it in a way that's not just, and then that thing happened. I want to like feel that same thrill as when I was like, oh my God, is this going to be what happens?
Yeah, and I do think there were a couple times this season where maybe things played out exactly as we predicted that weren't as powerful as I think they could have been. But I think the wildfire thing was just very, like I said, there was a sense of dread to it. And it was interesting going back to the White Walkers we didn't see them in this finale, and we might have, which was surprising, but I was okay with, because it was brought up. I mean, certainly it was sort of a key element in the whole Jon Snow King of the North sequence, because it was like some of the guys were like, oh, we're done, like we're gonna go back, and it's like, no, winter has come, so we're gonna go to our winter house. And they're like, no, we've got some big issues to deal with. So I thought it worked fine to not see them physically here, because they've been looming for so long that
loom they still shall.
They shall, until next year when we get 7 episodes, we think. I guess we'll know.
We'll see.
Maybe soonish. We'll find out. Any final words on the season finale before we wrap up? We didn't mention Sam, but Sam got a lot of books, which is cool.
Sam got a lot of books, and we finally got Oldtown, just a really cool location. And it looked beautiful. It looked like something. It looked like Hogwarts, like to me a little bit. It was very like something on a Jupiter Ascending with that great production value in there. Sam definitely got shortchanged this season, but with half the characters now dead on the show, hopefully he gets more next season. I think there's some really cool stuff to come in Oldtown. I think he's going to get some answers, because that's the place to get them about the White Walkers, about dragons, about everything. I think that was a really cool tease of what's to come and something hopeful.
Yeah, and humorous with the whole the guy who just wasn't having it that he went to talk to. And although it was again funny that information travels at different rates to different people, because this guy had not heard anything.
No one thought to send a raven.
No one sent a raven. They really should have.
But speaking of Mormonts, we didn't see Jorah again. Do you think he's going to pop up before this series is over?
Yes. Yeah. I see. I would be shocked if I'd be not shocked if we never saw Dario again, although I think we'll probably see him again. But Jorah is the one where he's been there since the beginning. I think we talked about, and I know Matt Fowler wrote about the fact that he might not see Daenerys again, but I think the character is going to pop up again.
I mean, going to Oldtown to try and get some information about Grayscale would be a pretty smart place to go.
And we've never really rounded back on him being a Mormont, as you said. It's like, so the connection to the wall. I think it's like Sam would be a great way to finally kind of bring that all back together. And they could talk about maybe eventually they can meet up with Lady Mormont for.
And she would tear him a new one. She would be like, "Get out of here! You were banished. We don't want you. You were bad. You sold slaves."
She would definitely have some harsh words. So this was the season finale of Game of Thrones, but it's not quite the season finale for Dragons on the Wall. We're going to do one more, kind of looking over at the whole season in general. If you have questions or comments before that episode, if there's things you want us to talk about or things that you disagree with us about, how could you ever on the internet. I don't know. But please tweet each of us. You can tweet Terri_Schwartz, the Eric Goldman, hashtag Dragons on the Wall. So we'll be back in the next week to talk about season 6 overall.
Send us your thoughts.
Send us your thoughts.
We want to talk to you. We want to talk about them. So please overload us with all your questions, thoughts, concerns, predictions, everything. This next one's about you guys.
All the stuff, yeah. Let us know all that and more, and for plenty more on Game of Thrones, keep it here at IGN.